And welcome back to the channel. In this video we travel back in time to look at a particular braindance music prototype from 1940 New York.
Greetings from the electric byway.
The year was 2004 when a co-worker of mine borrowed me some Aphex Twin and Coeur CDs. The sounds were something fresh for me and they had an interesting effect on my mind. This was my first touch to IDM or intelligent dance music. IDM itself is kind of a controversial term because it suggests that there is also stupid dance music. I didn't pay that much attention to it myself because I would also listen to sillier music with a good conscience. The name IDM comes from the Intelligent Dance Music mailing list, which was created in 1993 for discussing music related to Aphex Twin and the early artificial intelligence compilations of Warp Records from the UK. The name kinda stuck from there, but IDM wasn't originally intended as a genre name, and for example Aphex Twin's Reflex Records uses the term braindance instead. So what is the sound of IDM like exactly? Well, it can have elements of ambient, techno, breakbeats and so on. It's maybe more like a sophisticated form and fusion of these. But I think it's fair enough to say that when many people think of braindance, they think of those glitchy, seemingly random but catchy drill and bass beats that give you those funny ASMR-like tingles and that makes your astral body want to jump on the walls, especially when you listen to the music with headphones on. And this is the particular element of braindance that I will be focusing more from here on. These kinds of chaotic beats may have actually originated from a practical need, as the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act in 1994 in the UK was trying to shut down squat parties where music includes sounds wholly or predominantly characterized by the emission of a succession of repetitive beats. So to counter this, for example, Coeur released the track Flutter, where no bars had been programmed in an identical way, and it kind of developed from there. Now, I'm not going to go through an exhaustive list of all the good braindance artists or all the similar electronic music developments that came before it, because then this video would be too long. But let's move on and consider a hypothetical scenario. You are an electronic music enthusiast who enjoys braindance music, but one day you accidentally walk into a wormhole and find yourself in the year 1940. You find your mind craving for some of that synesthesia-inducing braindance action, but there's just none of that around. So what are you gonna do? Well, obviously first you're gonna want to stay the f*** away from World War II, and next you might wanna look up Norman McLaren in New York. Born in 1914, William Norman McLaren was a Scottish-Canadian animator, director and producer who was known for his work for the National Film Board of Canada. Now that sounds very familiar, doesn't it? He was known to pioneer in many areas like hand-drawn animation, drawn-on-film animation, visual music, abstract film, pixelation and graphical sound. In 1939, just as World War II was about to break out in Europe, McLaren received a grant from the Solomon Guggenheim Foundation to work in New York, so he got to move there from Scotland just in time. The graphical sound technique is based on creating artificial polyphonic soundtracks on transparent film. The first sound-on-film systems were created almost at the same time in the USSR, USA and Germany, from the mid-1920s to early 1930s. During his stay in New York, Norman made 4 drawn-on-film animated works, where both the frames and sound are drawn directly on the film.
Norman McLaren, the motion picture artist, has been making some hand-drawn sounds, and now he's going to hear them for the first time. played on the moviola, a sort of miniature movie projector.
In the context of this video, the most interesting one of these films is the one called Dots. The film is like a short synesthetic trip, and the rhythms develop into something very interesting that reminds a lot about the glitchy drill and bass beats of Braindance. I guess the only problem in 1940 would be that stereo headphones did not exist yet, so the listening experience would be a bit more limited compared to today. In a similar way, the process of making Braindance can be literally a very hands-on process, and the artists tweak the smallest details in the beats. Although compared to McLaren's work, it is also automated a lot, thanks to the machines. When it comes to images in sound waves, we also know that artists like Aphex Twin and Venetian Snares like to hide images in the sound waves of their music. Although the sounds can be quite synthetic in their nature, Dots and the later Braindance share this kind of human touch and craftsmanship and a certain association with sense-mixing synesthesia. I guess we could say that McLaren's Dots is like the lost grandparent of Braindance who was discovered on Ancestry. But what do you think? Also, I know we skipped quite a lot of proto-Braindance stuff that came after, or maybe even earlier, but feel free to discuss them in the comments. Norman McLaren passed away in early 1987, and he is particularly remembered for his image and sound experiments and groundbreaking techniques for combining and synchronizing animation with music. But thanks to nice people on the internet like Brains Washed These Ways, who gave this suggestion, we can also entertain the idea of connecting the dots between Dots and Braindance. Thanks a lot for your huge support so far, and see you next time on Electric Byway.